Fox News host Chris Wallace had Democratic Representative Donna Edwards of Maryland on his show on Sunday, and he asked some classic Fox-style questions.
Prosecutor, rather than seek justice for the demonstrators or Freddie Gray, shouldn't she just be seeking justice, period?
No, what she was saying is that she really wanted the process to begin and for people to understand what that is so that the city and all of our cities could be at peace and in calm. I think that she did an amazing job in laying out the reasons for probable cause finding. This is the beginning of the process, not the end of it.
Whenever you have riots, people talk about the underlying conditions, and there's no question that Baltimore, the city of Baltimore, has serious problems. Let's put them on the screen. The violent crime rate is 4 times the national average. Unemployment in Freddie Gray's neighborhood in Baltimore was 21%. 72% of 8th graders score below proficient in math. Now, a lot of people, frankly conservatives, have pointed out that Baltimore has not had a Republican mayor in 50 years. Is it unfair to say that the liberal policies have failed the city of Baltimore?
No, I think it's been unevenly spread.
So liberal policies are to blame for what happened in Baltimore. Here's my radical theory. The murder of Freddie Gray is to blame for what happened in Baltimore. How about that? And how about that's the main issue here? If that didn't happen, there wouldn't have been any looting, there wouldn't have been any rioting, there wouldn't have been any chaos in the streets. The spark that led to that was the murder of Freddie Gray, and it was a tipping point. It was a community saying, we're tired of being harassed and abused and oppressed by the cops. So now we're going to do a little backlash. And just as many protesters rightly pointed out, when there were peaceful protests directly after the Freddie Gray incident, national media didn't cover it. And then the second people started rioting, all of a sudden CNN was really interested. So it's a community which is crying for reform. But what does Fox News do? Chris Wallace, who's actually one of the better hosts on Fox News, is like, well, are liberal policies to blame? No. The policies that are to blame, if anything, you could say number one is the drug war. Why? Because look at Freddie Gray's arrest record. Over a dozen arrests of his were because of drugs. None of those arrests should have existed or should have happened in any sane society. We're going to lock people in a cage because they smoke a little marijuana. You're going to give a green light to police officers to harass young black men because they smoke a little weed. Get the fuck out of here, man. That's crazy. And we all know that, the sons and daughters of Wall Street billionaires are not smoking marijuana. They're not doing drugs. Of course they are. They just don't get harassed when they do it. They don't get locked up over a dozen times when they do it. Because there's not a green light for the cops to harass people in those upper-class communities. It's not in Greenwich, Connecticut that you're going to see the cops treating people like that. It's only going to be in poor minority communities. So that's one of the main problems here. One of the main problems is the drug war. Another main problem is just police abuse in general. All these cops should have body cameras. And like we just discussed, when body cameras are there, yes, sometimes you don't get the desired result, like with Eric Garner, for example, where inconceivably the guy got off. But what you do get, and studies have shown this, is just the fact that the body camera is there, a lot of officers are hesitant to do anything wrong because they know there's a fucking camera on them. So in many ways it does help, and the statistics show that. We need body cameras on people. These are the problems. We need special prosecutors. In this case, again, we got lucky because we actually have an attorney that stepped up and did the right thing. But in many of these police abuse cases, there's not even a fucking trial because the prosecutors or the attorneys involved are in bed with the cops, so of course they're not going to go after them. So this is the problem. We need to stop police abuse and do it in an effective way. And finally, the biggest problem is the lack of jobs. And that's not because of liberal policies that have been put in place. That's because of conservative policies that are still in play all around the United States of America. Now you might say, Kyle, how can you possibly come to that conclusion? Easy! Where's the New Deal program that's going to bring jobs to a community like Baltimore? I can't hear anything. What's going on? Nobody's responding. That's right. It's because it's fucking crickets. There is no response to that, because if we did have a New Deal program, for example, and we created millions of new jobs all around the United States of America that are high-paying jobs, middle-class jobs, we'd be in a much better circumstance. In all seriousness, NAFTA's in this conversation. All the so-called free trade deals are involved in this conversation as to why many minority communities are in desperation right now.